The winter holidays are a time to celebrate, but what to cook and what to bake? Today I'm going to answer that question by sharing a delightful menu that's ideal to serve for a jolly seasonal soiree. And then I'll visit with Michael Feinstein, the ambassador of the Great American Songbook.
You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
And we'll chat about the vegan holiday food favorites that he loves. So please join me as I prepare my winter celebration meal.
Jazzy, you're gonna be healthy with the Jazzy Vegetarian. Jazzy, so snazzy. We're gonna cook something healthy and light. Jazzy, so snazzy.
So join me in the kitchen right now.
We're gonna cook something healthy and light. That's right.
It's time to celebrate with a winter meal fit for even the most elegant seasonal party. The center of this vibrant meal features my sensational stuffed shells with the tastiest sauce ever, my dad's marinara. On the side, quick spinach salad adds color and crunch to this gala menu. And to finish with the flourish, my decadent and rich black forest pecan pie with vanilla crème fraiche. It pays tribute to my mother's traditional holiday version. So let's get to celebrating. Black Forest Pecan Pie. Now, the idea behind this is that when I was a little girl, my mother always served pecan pie at our winter holiday meals, and I just loved it. So for years, I've been trying to come up with a vegan version, and I finally have. And I think this is the most rich and decadent dessert I've come up with yet. I think you're gonna love it. So I'm starting off by putting 3/4 of a cup of rolled oats into my blender, and then 1/4 cup of raw, unsweetened, shredded, dried coconut, 1/4 cup of pecan halves. And then we're gonna put in 10 large pitted dates. Now make sure you take the pits out of the dates. So I double check before I put them in my blender. And that is it. I know you're saying, how is this gonna become crust? We're gonna start it on low and start to blend it together till it becomes a nice, soft, pliable dough. There we go. Now when it starts to come together like that, almost in a ball, that's when you know it's ready. Put that into a beautiful ball. There you are, look at that. You know it's perfect? You press your hand in there, kind of stays. You really feel that it's got some nice give to it. It's really, really easy to work with. Now we're just gonna flatten this with our hands first. Kind of get our round going here. That's perfect. And we're going to roll this out into approximately a 10-inch round. Sometimes it sticks a little bit to your roller as it's doing right now. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour on it. A little bit on top of there. There we go. Perfect. And you're just gonna work with it. Don't be too heavy on it. Turn your board as you go. And we're gonna roll this into about a 10-inch round. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, that's looking pretty good. A little bit more of that flour. And we're gonna roll it out just a little bit more. All righty, it's looking pretty good. Let me just loosen it up a little bit. We've got a 9-inch pie plate here, and we're gonna oil it out with just a little bit of vegan margarine. You don't really have to oil it. I've made it without oiling it, but it just ensures that it's not gonna stick. It's also gonna help the bottom to brown up beautifully. All right. Now this is the fun part. And what you're gonna do is fold the edges over just a little bit. Go around, make yourself a little rim for your crust, and then you can just make it a little fancy if you want. Press it in like that. Perfect. We have our pie crust all put together. Let me rinse off my hands.
And now that we've made our crust, let's get to our filling.
I'm starting off with 1/2 cup of maple syrup and then 1 cup of vegan chocolate chips. Vegan chocolate chips are pretty easy to find in your supermarket these days. 1/4 cup of molasses. And we're going to add 5 pitted dates to this. I've just split them and taken those pits out. Make sure you take the pits out. Very important. 2 tablespoons of vegan margarine, 2 tablespoons of water, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Here we go. Make sure that you blend this until the chocolate chips are totally incorporated. That is absolutely fabulous.
That is the perfect consistency.
At this point, it's almost the consistency of my mom's pie. Of course, my mom did not use chocolate, but I decided that the chocolate was going to add a great taste. What we're going to do here now is fold in very gently 1½ cups
Of pecan halves.
You can dump them in first, and then just carefully fold them in. That is perfect. Let's grab our pie crust and get this going. Woo! Look at that, look at that. Your mouth has got to be watering, I know mine is. Just gonna smooth it out over the top. Tell me you're not in the mood for pie, and I'd be so surprised. I'm in the mood for pie, simply because it's near me. Now we're gonna garnish it out with some more of those beautiful pecans. You never have too many pecans in a pecan pie. Now I'm gonna put it onto a sheet pan. I don't want to get my oven all messy. All right, I'm going to put this in the oven at 375 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. Then as the edges start to brown, I'm going to tent it with a little bit of foil. Let it cook for about another 5 to 8 minutes until it's almost set. Take it out of the oven, put it into the refrigerator for at least 2 hours so it completely sets up, and then you're going to be ready to have Black Forest Pecan Pie. Well, up next, you've got to stick around because I'm going to make the tastiest sauce you've ever had. It's Dad's Marinara. Good. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Oh, I'm getting jolly now because I'm making Dad's Marinara. I can't tell you how many times I've been together with my dad, my stepmom, and my sister and my stepsisters, and we say to ourselves, we don't feel like cooking tonight. It's time for Dad to make his marinara. And we usually have this just over some plain spaghetti, and my stepmom makes a nice salad on the side, a little bit of crusty bread. Really easy. Of course, it's easy for us girls because Dad makes the sauce. I'm gonna cook Dad's marinara right now. So I've got 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. Just putting them right into my saucepan. This recipe is really easily doubled. That's what Dad usually does. And he also uses canned tomato sauce, but I liked the crushed tomatoes. Then I'm gonna add about 1/2 cup of water. I might use a little bit more. We're gonna see how this sauce thickens up as it cooks. And of course, what would marinara be without garlic? I'm gonna add about 3 large cloves of garlic, 1½ teaspoons of dried basil, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. Love that oregano. 1/2 teaspoon of dried parsley, about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. I got 1/4 teaspoon of that red pepper here today. I want to make it extra spicy. So we're just going to stir this all together. That's all you need to do. When we do this at holiday time, when Dad cooks it at holiday time, he starts it pretty early in the day and it just simmers on the stove all day in a big, big pot. Just sets the holiday off to a festive tone. Well, I'm gonna get this going. I'm gonna set it over medium heat, bring it to a simmer, then bring it down to medium low. and I'm gonna let it simmer for about 45 minutes. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of red wine. Then you can simmer it from 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Sometimes Dad lets it simmer for 2 or 3 hours. Well, now on to our casserole. I'm gonna make these fantastic stuffed shells. You're just gonna love it. So let's get to that right now. So let me just check on the sauce. It's been about 40 minutes or so. Ooh, that looks fantastic. I'm gonna add just a little more water. So I'm gonna use anywhere between 3/4 of a cup and 1 cup of water. Just depends on how thick you like your marinara sauce. And also I'm gonna add a little bit of jazzy pizzazz. This is optional, of course, but Dad does like to add about 2 tablespoons of a good red wine. I'm gonna do that right now. There we go, stir that in. So what are we going to serve with the sauce? It's my stuffed shells. I'm stuffing them with potatoes. What you want to do is you want to bake 3 large russet potatoes. Let them cool down before you handle them. You can even do this the day before and work with these potatoes cold. It works both ways. Just going to slice them lengthwise. And then I'm going to scoop out the pulp. Take your grapefruit spoon. You can use a regular spoon if you want, but the serrated edge of a grapefruit spoon works really, really well with this. Just work your way around the edge of the potato skin. Then that pulp is just going to come right out of there. It's that easy. And save your potato skins. I like to use them the next day for lunch. I make baked potato skins. Throw a few veggies in there, maybe a little vegan cheese on top. It's absolutely delicious for a quick luncheon meal or an hors d'oeuvre over holiday time. I'm measuring out about 3 cups of the potato pulp. And I'm just gonna toss that into my blender. I'm adding 1/4 cup of unsweetened non-dairy milk, 1 teaspoon of fresh minced garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 1/2 cup of a diced yellow or sweet onion. This is a sweet onion I have here today. Now we do want to make this into a nice, smooth puree. All right, I think that's just about perfect now. You want it to be nice and smooth. So what we need to do is get our potato mixture out of our blender. That's gonna make a nice, smooth, cream-like stuffing. It's almost like a potato cheese stuffing. That's kind of what it comes out like. Earlier in the day, I cooked up 20 jumbo pasta shells, al dente, and I've chilled them. It makes them a little bit easier to work with. I'm gonna add 2 cups of lightly packed baby spinach, finely chopped. It gives it a great pop of flavor and a great pop of color too, especially for a holiday celebration. Alrighty, we're just gonna fold that spinach right in. There we go, that's gorgeous. That with the green and the white and the red sauce. Absolutely fabulous. Check on my sauce. Fantastic. Let me just grab my casserole dish. I'm using a 9x12 casserole for this. Let's start off by putting a little bit of Dad's sauce in the bottom. You're gonna put about 1 cup of this sauce in the bottom of your casserole to keep the shells from sticking to the bottom of the casserole. Yeah, excellent. Here's how we get started putting our shells together. Just want to take one, hold it open like that. And we're going to scoop about 1.5 tablespoons of the stuffing into each shell. Aren't those going to look pretty? Just going to nestle them right in there, just like that. You'll want to really pack them into your casserole because the shells, when they're packed together, they kind of help each other to hold together while they're cooking.
Stuffed shells. Let's make the stuffed shells. We got potatoes. We got spinach. Oh, it's so delicious. Dad's marinara makes it so nutritious. Come on, let's stuff the shells. Oh, they're so pretty too. My fancy stuffed shells.
So I've just about got this ready to go into the oven.
Delicious.
Now to finish it all off, I'm going to put about 1 heaping teaspoon of Dad's marinara over the top of each shell.
I like to just put it right down the middle. So when it comes out of the oven, you've got the red and the green and the white. It's really such a beautiful dish to serve for holiday time. Very carefully place it over the middle of the shells. That is just perfect.
Now we're going to cover it very loosely with foil.
So I'm going to pop this into a 400-degree oven for 50 minutes to an hour. Once it's bubbling, take the cover off for 5 or 10 minutes. You're going to kind of let it crisp up on top. Good. Next up, my quick spinach salad. Going to add another little pop of color. Really, really festive for my winter celebration.
But first, Michael Feinstein will share about his favorite vegan holiday meals and talk about his fabulous book, The Gershwins and Me.
The new book is fantastic.
The Gershwins and Me.
Yes, yes. Such a great premise for the book, and I'd love it if you'd just share a little bit about that with us.
Well, that book was a 5-year journey, and Gershwin, as is evidenced by my wall here, is a very big influence on my life because I met Ira Gershwin, who wrote the lyrics to all the now classic Gershwin songs, when I was 20, and he was 80 years old. And so I wanted to create a book that would be not only for people that already know and love the work of George and Ira Gershwin, but for people who might have heard the name or might not know a lot about it but are intrigued by it, to invite them in to learn about the Gershwin world. So it's a book that's equal in text and in illustrations and beautiful archival photographs. And then it also has a CD that I newly recorded that contains the 12 songs that are the chapter titles for the book.
So let's get to the nitty-gritty. Sometimes I feel that the most challenging time can be around holiday time. Are there any new or old holiday traditions, vegan style, that you might be able to share with us that your family enjoys?
On your radio program, I've talked to you in the past about the pumpkin that my mom has made, and she continues to make that for me. But she's always had a problem with the crust.
Oh, I got a crust for her.
I've got a crust on you.
Got a crust for you, Maisie.
That was the original title of the Gershwin song, I've Got a Crust for You.
Yes, I'm sure it was. But what do you have for the main meal? Does your mother, Maisie, make it vegan? Does she make some things that are not vegan for other people? How does it work? That's what we're talking about on the show today. We're putting together a menu that's perfect for anybody that might be visiting you for the holidays.
One of the things that my mom started making were tacos, because you can put any filling you want in them. So you just have different choices. You have vegan choices and you have vegetarian choices. There's soy cheese, there's real cheese. I have the fake meat, and then there's real meat. So people can prepare them the way they want, and everybody's happy.
Well, I am so honored that you spent the time with us, and I do hope we do it again sometime.
Well, thank you. The only other thing I can say is, you made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. You made me love you, and all the time you knew it. I guess you always knew it. You made me happy sometimes, you made me sad. But there were times, dear, you made me feel so bad, but not today. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you so much. Fabulous, Michael Feinstein. Now let's get back to cooking. Quick spinach salad, and I do mean quick. First, I'm going to make my very, very simple dressing. 2 teaspoons of balsamic vinegar, and then 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. A little bit of freshly ground salt. I've got the Himalayan pink salt, which I kind of like, and a little bit of freshly ground pepper. That's the whole thing. You never believe it tastes so good. Just whisk it together. So what I have here is 3 cups of lightly packed baby spinach, cleaned and dried, of course. Toss that into my bowl. And then I've got my dressing. I'm gonna pop that right over the top. If you make it ahead of time, the spinach really gets marinated in this fabulous, yummy, kind of sweet and sour dressing. Makes it really good paired with my stuffed shells. Makes the dinner look great, too. You could serve this for a first course if you wanted to, but what I like to do is I like to nestle the salad underneath the hot shells, so the hot shells wilt the spinach just perfectly. Tastes really good together. You'll see in a minute. Well, that's the whole thing, and there it is, my quick spinach salad. Well, I'm going to let it set for about 20 minutes while I put the rest of my dinner together because I smell those shells cooking. I know my pie is getting all chilled in the refrigerator, and I'm getting ready to plate this winter celebration meal up for you. And I'm going to taste it. Welcome to my winter celebration, and I'm feeling so festive right now. Look at my beautiful spread. Of course, I've got my stuffed shells with Dad's marinara sauce. Got just a little extra sauce to put on top of the shells. You see, I've plated them up over that spinach salad, but you do want to serve the marinara sauce on the side, so anybody can add a little extra if they like. All right, let me give it a little taste. I like to take a little bit of that spinach salad with it. You see how the hot shells have just wilted that spinach salad perfectly. Oh my goodness. That is really, really good. That fantastic potato in there, it's just such a creamy texture to it, almost like it's stuffed with cheese. And then Dad's marinara sauce just adds a real nice spicy pop of flavor. Out of this world. And then look at my beautiful Black Forest Pecan Pie. Isn't that just gorgeous? I've made a little vegan crème fraiche with this. All I did was I put a little bit of sprouted extra firm tofu and some non-dairy milk, vanilla extract, and maple syrup. The recipe's in my cookbook. Just throw it in the blender and you have a crème fraiche. Gonna put a little blob of that right on the top. Maybe a little more for good measure. Ah, that's perfect. I just can't wait to take a bite. That nice crisp crust. Oh boy. Oh yeah. You're gonna be celebrating after you eat this. Fly me to the moon. That is absolutely out of this world. Those fantastic pecans. And that chocolate has just melted all in there. Little bit of the molasses, that maple syrup, and that fantastic date nut crust that we made. Doesn't it look beautiful? Just like a regular crust. Deck the halls, it's extra jazzy. I have had a fabulous time making this holiday meal. So when you're looking for holiday recipes, I hope you'll look to the dishes on today's show. So until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be well. From the Jazzy Vegetarian.
Visit our website at jazzyvegetarian.com to connect with Laura, see videos, find your favorite recipes, and more. Follow Laura on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Companion cookbooks to the Jazzy Vegetarian series contain beautiful full-color photos and include recipes featured each season.
This 10th anniversary edition companion cookbook features full-color photos, menu plans, and over 120 recipes.
For more information or to order, visit jazzyvegetarian.com.
Organic love, 100% natural. Yes, it is now. Organic love. I've got no additives or no preservatives. It's real intuitive. It's downright primitive. Organic love. Organic love is 100% natural. Yes, it is now.